Everyone, Paul here. Today I'm going to talk about a linear regression channel strategy that I talked about in the last video. I talked about it with the stocks. Today I want to go over it with doing it with crypto. But basically what you want to do, there's kind of a three-step process to this. You have to look at your asset, whatever crypto you want to look at. You want to look at it on the day chart. You want to load up your linear regression channel, and you want to put in your RSI as well. So what you want to pay attention to is to determine whether you're in a ascending channel or a descending channel. If you're in an ascending channel, you want to wait for the candle to get as close to the bottom as possible and rely on your RSI to make your next move. If you're on a descending channel, you want to wait for the candle to go to the very top of the regression channel, and you want to move when it's crossing down. So I'm going to show you what I mean. We're going to look at we're going to look at crypto on the day, and we're going to look at a couple assets and look at if you follow this, and if you follow this trend line through the linear regression channel, it should lead into some pretty good results. But this the disadvantage to the strategy is if you do it on the day, you have to wait a while, you have to wait for the move. So this is not a daily thing, this is not intraday. You have to wait for the candles to line up. But let me show you how to set it up. We'll look at a couple cryptos on the day chart, and we'll go from there. Okay, so for this to work, you need two indicators. The first thing you want to go to your day chart of your crypto, and then you're going to want to go to your indicators, and you want to go to linear regression channel. That's that one there. And once you do, now by default it will look a little bit differently. By default, it's going to look like this. So it's going to have the blue and the red in the center. To me, that's distracting. And what I do is I turn it off. And basically, you just go in your settings and you make sure your extended lines are on the right. You go to your colors and you just turn down your opacity for both of them. It'll remove the colors from the middle there. To me, that's more. It's easier to see. And then you need your relative strength index. So once you have this, what you want to do is you want to identify what the overall direction is doing on the daily. So what we can tell from Bitcoin here is Bitcoin has been in a ascending. It's been in an ascending channel since October 23rd. So these are all day candles. So what you will notice is if you actually got in every time the candle got close to the bottom of this line, but you can basically ride this out into gains because you're in an ascending channel. So where you would enter your trade is every time the candle gets close to the bottom of this trend line, and basically that's when you will enter your trade. There's a couple moments to where you can come in. The first time would be this one right here. And what you want to look for is after you identified and the candle has gotten as close to the bottom of that trend line as possible, from like right here, you want to check your RSI and see if the RSI is crossing. Once you see that RSI crossing, that is your entry point. And basically, if you time this right, you can simply just hold on, and basically you're at the bottom here of that asset. So if we came in right here with Bitcoin, and if we rode this out, you would be in gains. If you rode it all the way up here to the top, which took 18 days, you would be in profit. You would have a 47% increase. If you kept going, and where Bitcoin reached the top of this trend line, you'd still be in profit up to 59%. And then it went down a little bit, but even if it comes down from this point right here, you're still in profit. You're still in profit from here because you were on an ascending channel. So you could actually stay in this trade as long as as long as these candles don't go through or have a structure difference here. So you could stay in your trade because it is still ascending upwards. So if you did miss here, if you did miss this point right here where you come in, the next point to come in wouldn't be for a while. You want to wait, and the next point would probably have been right about here. It didn't quite touch the bottom, but it's pretty close. So you could have come in right about here, and you still could have been riding it out. But this one right here, it really isn't that. I would want a trade that's as close to the trend line as possible. So I may or may not have entered that trade, but try to get as close to the trend line as possible. So what we can see right now with Bitcoin is there's room for it to come down, and basically what I'm waiting for is for it to come down a little bit and touch the bottom of this trend line. Once it touches the bottom of this trend line and I see that it's crossing with the RSI, that's when I'll enter my trade, and I basically can just ride the rest of it out. So the price for Bitcoin that I'm looking for is around, so if you want to know the bottom, just hover over the candle, the last daily candle, move your cursor down to the bottom of that trend line, and you will find the bottom. This one is $93,000, so I basically would have to wait for it to get close to $93,000. Once I see that, I can put in a buy order and just ride the rest of it out. And it'll be a good trade as long as, it'll be a good trade as long as it doesn't break this trend line right here. And you could do the same thing up here, but this would be going against the trend. I like going with the trend, so I'm always looking for to go with the trend. I don't go against the trend. If this was a descending channel, you'd be doing the opposite. So you wouldn't be looking for your signal down here. You'd be looking for your signal up here. You'd be waiting for the candle to come up here to the top, and then at the top, you'd be looking for something like this with the RSI. But you have to be in a descending channel. So real quickly, let's look at a couple other cryptos and see if we can find anything. Okay, let's look at Ethereum real quick. So we see that Ethereum is in a ascending. From the daily chart, Ethereum is on a ascending channel. The moment to have gotten the trade would have been right about here where it's touching the trend line. You see it crossing the RSI, and you're seeing it getting pretty close to the trend line right here. This would have been the moment to get in. The best moment to have gotten in for a long would have been about $2,343. It has been going up. It has been going up, and most likely it's going to start bouncing. And we see Ethereum is getting close to that trend line. So what I'd be waiting for is to see if the RSI is about to cross down here. Once the RSI crosses upwards, that's probably be a good entry point for Ethereum, because then you could just basically be riding it out for the remainder here, and most likely you can ride this into some pretty good profit, because unless these candles break the bottom trend line right here, you will still be on a ascending path to gains here. Let's go look at a couple other cryptos. Let's look at XRP. Now XRP is currently in a ascending channel right here. So entry point would have been right about here. If you caught that breakout, that's when it basically happened, when you caught that breakout, was right here. It was a pretty sudden, fast. You probably wouldn't be able to catch this unless you were like holding it or. But anyway, this was the moment right here, and you basically are traveling in an ascending pattern. You want to wait for your moves to get in, to be close to the trend line as possible. If you zoom in, you want to get in as close to the bottoms. So from here, you see it crossing, so this would be a good moment to get in. $2 basically would have been a good moment right here. You could have rode this out, and you basically from $2 you could ride this out. Basically, where it's at right now, it could go either way. It could go up a little bit, it could go down a little bit, but if it comes down, the best point to get in right now would be about $2.68. Now remember, it's the bottom from what it looks like right now is $2.68. But down here where we first found it was about 53 cents. So it is on a ascending path. So what you want to do is you want to catch the candle at the bottom of the trend line. As long as it does not break this trend line, it is going to be going in an ascending path. And you could basically ride XRP to the numbers that, whatever numbers it goes to. It could really, we don't really know where it's going to go, but the bottom right now is about $2.65. That's the lowest it can go. And if it does get to that, you want to wait for your RSI to cross so you can get in at a pretty good deal. Let's look at one more crypto. Let's look at Shiba Inu real quick. And if you want to do Shiba here, the first thing we need to do is determine what direction it's going. And this one, I don't really know what direction. Let's look at the 6 hour real quick. It looks like it's going in a downtrend, actually. Let's go look at it. I don't want to focus on a down, but let's real quickly use the downtrend as an example of what you would do on a daily. Basically, you see this is in a downtrend, so it's doing the opposite. So what you would want to look for, basically, on a downtrend, you want to wait for the candle to get up here, cross down with the RSI, and that's basically what you would see happening here. This is what you would be doing in a bear market. But let's look at some other crypto. I want to find something in an uptrend. Do Dogecoin. See, Dogecoin is going up. Okay, Dogecoin is in a uptrend here. So basically, it started. Let's zoom in real quick. It started right around here. So you would have got in right here, and you would have been at the bottom of it, and you just ride it out. And even if you're at this point right here, 25 cents is the bottom right now, and that's an increase from over here where it first started, which was 10 cents. So Dogecoin is on an ascending path upwards as well. So what I would look for right now is I would wait for the candle to come down. It looks like it has more room to come down, but when I see it crossing up with the RSI, that's the moment to get back in. And then you could basically, you've reached the bottom basically, and you could ride Dogecoin out as well. So that's the entry point for Dogecoin. Let's look at Litecoin. This will be the last one that I do. Now, Litecoin is on, let's see. Litecoin is on a ascending channel. The moment to have got on before was right over here, which was, we see it's close to the bottom of the trend line. It's crossing the RSI. Price was about $64. It has been ascending up since. So what you want to wait for, there's more room for it to come down. So I would wait for it to come down a little bit more. And then once you see the RSI crossing up through, that will be your entry point, and you can basically just ride Litecoin out to new all-time highs. The main disadvantage to this strategy is it's not an intraday move. You literally have to wait on the day chart for it to go to the bottom of that trend line. Once you find it getting close to it, you look at your RSI as your RSI is going to cross, and you should reach a pretty close bottom to that asset. And once you do, you could just ride it out, because if you catch the bottom, and you don't necessarily have to catch the complete bottom, you just have to catch it in a way to where if it goes down a little bit more, it won't liquidate you. So if you get close enough, you could just ride it up, and you shouldn't have to use, you could probably use more of a leverage for it, because most likely it's going to honor that trend line unless it breaks it. So anyway, nobody likes doing this strategy because you do have to wait. You're doing this on the day. So you're going to have to wait a while for these moves, but just keep your eye on your favorite assets. And you could do this for trading, you could do this for longs, and you can do this for dollar cost averaging. So you don't necessarily have to trade this, but if you want to find the good moments to get in, when it's in an ascending path, you always want to buy in when it's at that bottom point on that trend line. And then you can dollar cost your average every time it comes back down to that bottom. But anyway, you can dollar cost average with this method, and you can trade with this method. You can go long with this method. And like I said, when you're in a descending channel, you do the opposite. You wait for the candle to go to the top, and then the RSI to cross down on the daily. But you would have to trade. You have to trade it on the down. You can't dollar cost your average when it's tanking. But anyway, if you guys like this video, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. See you guys for the videos.